How do you lose weight? I mean, it's literally one of the most Googled questions on the planet, right? And probably the #1 New Year's resolution out there. But if you've ever actually tried to figure it out, you know exactly how maddening the whole diet industry can be. There is just so much noise. One day you're supposed to drink some bizarre detox tea, the next you're terrified of all carbs forever, or you're being sold some wildly expensive miracle supplement that promises overnight results. It is exhausting. So today, we're cutting through all of that. We're skipping the gimmicks, and we are looking strictly at the science.
Welcome to today's Explainer, the science and pillars of sustainable weight loss. I'm absolutely pumped to get into this with you because we're going to break down biologically what's real, what's a total myth, and what actually works for the human body. No fads, no quick fixes, just clear, structured facts so you can truly understand your own biology and take back control of your health.
Okay, so here is our roadmap to make sense of all this chaos. First, the weight loss formula. Then, how you burn calories. After that, we'll introduce the 4 pillars of healthy weight loss, navigate through diet and nutrition, and finally look at movement, stress, and bust a few seriously stubborn myths.
Section 1. The weight loss formula. Let's dive right into the foundational mechanics of how the human body actually processes energy.
Think of your body exactly like a bank account. Seriously, it's a very simple biological equation. The calories you eat and drink, that's the money deposited into your account. The calories you burn throughout the day, that's the money spent. If you spend more money than you deposit, well, your balance goes down. It is the exact same with your physical body. Weight loss happens when you burn more energy than you consume. It's all about energy balance.
And that brings us to the formal definition of what we just talked about, a calorie deficit. Spending more energy than you deposit, resulting in weight loss. That's it. That is the undeniable, rock-solid core principle behind any successful weight loss journey. Literally every single diet that has ever worked for anyone, whether they realized it or not, worked because it put them in a calorie deficit.
Section 2. How you burn calories. Now that we know we have to spend more energy than we deposit, we need to look under the hood and figure out where exactly all that energy actually goes. Listen to this number, 60 to 75%. Now, you might assume that to burn a lot of calories, you have to be running endlessly on a treadmill or lifting heavy weights for hours, right? No way. The shocking truth is that simply staying alive, breathing, thinking, circulating blood, keeping your organs functioning, burns the vast majority of your daily calories.
The technical term for that baseline energy is your BMR, or basal metabolic rate. Even when you're dead asleep in your bed, your body is working incredibly hard and burning calories just to keep the lights on, so to speak. And get this, your brain alone uses around 20% of your body's total energy. So you're literally burning calories right now just by paying attention to this explainer. You're welcome.
Okay, another fascinating way your body burns calories is simply by digesting the foods you eat. This is called the thermic effect of food, or TEF. Digesting protein actually demands the highest energy cost from your body, followed by carbs and then fat. Basically, your body has to work harder to break down a piece of chicken than a piece of bread. But we need to definitively bust a myth right here. There is absolutely no such thing as negative calorie foods. Even at its absolute most efficient, your body only burns a fraction of the calories during the digestion process. It never burns more energy than it actually takes in from the food itself. Section 3. The 4 pillars. So far, we've talked purely about the raw math of energy in versus energy out. But just starving yourself and eating way less is definitely not the whole story.
Look, technically you can lose weight by eating very little, but look what happens to your biological machine when you do that. Your hormones get completely disrupted. You feel exhausted, foggy, and honestly, incredibly irritable. Your focus drops dramatically at work or school, and almost inevitably, this extreme restriction leads directly to binge eating. This is exactly why those 30-day crash diets almost always end with gaining the weight right back. Crashing your system is a terrible idea. The goal is never just weight loss. The goal has to be healthy, sustainable weight loss.
The real, holistic solution comes down to 4 pillars: diet control, exercise, proper sleep, and low stress. Notice how diet is literally just one single piece of the overall puzzle here? All 4 of these pillars matter deeply to your metabolism. Health is a completely balanced lifestyle, and to keep your biological machine running smoothly without breaking down, you have to actively manage all 4 of these areas.
Section 4. Navigating diet and nutrition. Let's look at the practical application of that first pillar, diet control, so you can figure out how to actually fill your plate and stay satisfied.
So why is it that you can sometimes eat a massive meal and feel starving an hour later, Because not all foods satisfy hunger equally. You want to heavily focus on foods with a high satiety effect. High-fiber foods, protein-rich foods, and whole unprocessed foods are your absolute best tools. These specific types of foods are basically a cheat code. They help you feel significantly fuller for a much longer time, all while consuming fewer overall calories. They make maintaining a calorie deficit totally doable without feeling miserable.
Now, you've definitely heard this massive, ongoing debate, low carb versus low fat. Well, the scientific reality is actually a bit of an anticlimax. Research consistently shows that weight loss depends entirely on total calories, not whether the diet is strictly low carb or low fat. Whether you absolutely love bread or you live for avocados, as long as the total calories are controlled, the scale will move. If the calories are exactly the same, the weight loss results are remarkably similar.
In fact, cutting out entire food groups out of fear is actually a huge biological mistake, because your body desperately needs all of them to function properly. Take a deep breath. You don't have to give up the things your body requires. Carbs are absolutely essential for your daily energy and your brain function. Protein is non-negotiable for muscle repair and growth. And fats are absolutely crucial for hormone regulation and vitamin absorption. You don't need to eliminate any of these. The scientific key is simply a well-balanced diet. Just focus heavily on whole grains, fruits, vegetables, lentils, nuts, and moderate amounts of dairy.
However, there are certainly things you should actively limit: refined flour, added sugars, deep-fried foods, and heavily ultra-processed stuff. Why? Because these specific items spike your blood sugar incredibly fast, and what goes up must come down. That rapid spike is followed by a crash, which violently increases your cravings and almost inevitably leads to overeating and completely blowing your calorie deficit. They are quite literally biological traps designed to make you eat more. Section 5: Movement, Stress, and Myths. Let's look at the remaining lifestyle elements of our foundation and clear up some persistent fitness fiction along the way.
Pillar 2 is exercise. For weight loss, the primary goal here is simply to burn more calories through physical movement. Cardio, strength training, and flexibility routines like yoga are all fantastic. But please, don't underestimate the power of daily walking and just staying generally active. You do not have to be a marathon runner to see amazing results. Every single step you take, every time you take the stairs over the elevator, or even just pacing while you're on a phone call, it all adds up tremendously to increase the money spend side of your energy bank account.
Now, we absolutely have to bust one of the biggest, most pervasive myths in the entire fitness industry: spot reduction. Listen carefully. You can do 10,000 crunches a day, but you cannot target fat loss exclusively from your belly. You cannot chew a special, heavily marketed gum to lose fat specifically in your face or jawline. Fat loss happens overall, universally across your entire body, and the way it ultimately comes off is determined entirely by your unique genetics, not by specific, localized exercises. Period.
What about those final pillars, sleep and stress? Well, check out this fascinating and honestly slightly scary biological chain reaction. When you are highly stressed from work or life, your body increases the production of a hormone called cortisol. High cortisol actively slows down your metabolism to conserve energy. On top of that, it drastically increases your cravings for those sugary, ultra-processed foods we just talked about avoiding. Managing your stress levels and actively getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep isn't just a nice self-care routine, it is a literal, biological necessity for sustainable weight loss.
All right, let's do a really quick recap of the totally achievable, science-based formula we've explored today. To lose weight sustainably, here is your game plan. Maintain a calorie deficit with a nutritious, well-balanced diet. Dodge the sugary and processed traps that spike your blood sugar. Move your body daily, whether that's walking, lifting, or swimming. And lastly, fiercely protect your 7 to 9 hours of sleep and your active stress management. It's an entire ecosystem, and it all works together.
I want to leave you with this incredibly empowering thought directly from our source material. Being healthy is more important than fitting into a specific body standard. All the math, all the biology, and all the pillars we talked about today aren't about punishing yourself to fit some arbitrary mold. They're about optimizing the only body you're ever going to have so you can feel your absolute best. So I'll leave you with this. Are you just chasing a random number on a scale, or are you finally ready to start building the biological foundation